Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Limitless Live. I'm your host, Olga Binyaminov, and today I want to begin a brand new topic for the month of August, social life. This month, I want to dive deeper into how our social lives can either elevate us or exhaust us, and how to consciously build relationships that actually nourish our soul. I've titled today's episode as Connection Over Comparison, but I really want to focus on how to rebuild real relationships in this filtered world. Let me begin with this quote. We trade depth for likes and wonder why we feel alone. Think about it. So I want to give you a guidance question for today. Are your relationships fueling your growth or feeding your self-doubt? If you've ever felt unseen in a crowded room, if you've ever scrolled through social media and suddenly felt like your life wasn't enough, and if you've ever questioned your worth based on who responded to your message, this episode is for you. I want to start by talking about the elephant in the room. We are more connected than ever before. Yet, we are also more isolated. We are more anxious and we are so much more insecure. Why is that? Well, it's because social media had rewired our relationships. We are living in a world where likes replace listening, comments replace conversations, and DMs replace deep connections. But here's the thing. Digital connection isn't always emotional connection. Technology should enhance connections, not replace it. But instead, we find ourselves comparing our behind the scenes to someone else's highlighted reel. And slowly, that comparison erodes our confidence. We don't feel enough, not smart enough, not pretty enough, not accomplished enough. And often, it's not even intentional, it's passive. We open our phone and within 30 seconds, we're spiraling into doubts. So the question is, how do we wake up from this comparison coma? Well, let's start by intentionally choosing connection over performance. Let's start by asking deeper questions. Let's put our phone down during meals and let's make time for real people in real places. Now, I want to talk about validation because today in the social media, what we'll learn from it is to seek instant validation. You post something, and you want to know, am I pretty enough? Was that vacation impressive enough for you? Or is that success post getting enough applauses? But none of them actually last. It's like eating sugar. It spikes, but then you have the crush. What we need is soul nourishment, not ego feeding. Connection is why we are here. It gives us purpose. It gives meaning to our life. So how do we go deeper? I want you to start asking questions from people in your life. Instead of just saying, how are you? Why don't you go deeper? Ask, what is something that you've been struggling with right now and you haven't shared? What lights up what lights up your day? Or what is one thing that you need more of, but you haven't asked for? Don't just text WYD. Text what's been on your heart lately. Call, visit, listen. Remember, people don't need perfect friends. They just need a present friend. Now let's talk about your circle. There are two types of relationships. There is a draining relationship and there is a nourishing relationship. And the truth is, sometimes the most consistent people in our lives are not the most healthy ones. So let's break it down. The draining relationships are relationships where you feel judged and belittled. It's when They are constantly either competing or comparing with you. You feel like you're performing, but you're not actually being you. And you're always the one giving. You're always the one fixing. You're always the one initiating. On the other hand, the nourishing relationship is when you feel safe, when you feel seen, supported. You can show up messy and still be loved. You can celebrate the wins with them, but you can be comforted in the lows. The energy exchange feels mutual, not like a transaction. There's this famous quote from Jim Rohn, and he says, "You become like the 5 people you spend most of the time with. Choose wisely. Ask yourself, who energizes me? Who drains me? Who challenges me to grow? And who secretly celebrates when I shrink?" Sometimes we stay in a draining relationship because we are afraid to be alone. But here's the truth: peace is more valuable than company. Now, let's talk about authenticity. In a world obsessed with filters, branding, and curation, being real is actually revolutionary. Stay close to people who feel like sunshine. Authenticity is magnetic. Pretending is exhausting. You don't need to be perfect to be loved. You just need to be real to be understood. And here's how you can build those authentic relationships. Share the unfiltered part of your journey. Speak your truth, even when your voice is shaking. Admit when you are not okay. Celebrate other people out loud without envy. Be radically honest with kindness. When you show up as your full self, you give other permissions to do the same. Authenticity is not about being loud. It's really about being honest. So let's return to the focus question I started today. Are your relationships fueling your growth, or are they feeding your self-doubts? This week, I challenge you. Do a connection cleanse. Unfollow accounts that trigger comparison. Mute voices that drain your energy. Reach out to the one person who makes you feel seen. Reconnect intentionally. Call a friend you've been thinking about. Set up a coffee date with no phone on the table. Write a letter, a voice note, a heartfelt message. Be the friend you wish you had. Give the compliment. Offer your presence. Speak truth with grace. Celebrate others genuinely from the heart. And above all, choose depth over drama. Choose presence over performance, and choose connection over comparison. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Your social life can be your source of joy, your source of fuel, and your growth if you build it intentionally. If this episode moves you, please share this with someone who needs to hear this. Leave a review, tag me on social media, and let's create a ripple of real connections in this filtered world. I will go this month and talk more about boundaries that are specific for love, for saying no without guilt, and so much more throughout this month. But until next week, stay limitless. Stay loving. And remember, You deserve relationships that reflect your light.